Good evening, I'm John Bachman. This is an update from News Center 11. Helen Huffman will be released from prison tomorrow. The state Supreme Court has overturned her conviction in the killing of her daughter-in-law, Helen Huffman. The High Court ruled that there was not enough evidence to show that she was an accomplice in the murder carried out by her son, David Huffman. And the Joseph Churi murder trial is tonight in the hands of the jury. Now this.
Thursday, it's a heartwarming holiday classic with Fred Astaire in 9 different roles. 3 people's lives are magically changed by the marvelous, mystical man in a Santa Claus suit. Then, Burt Reynolds heads an all-star salute to 6-time Oscar winner Frank Capra. And on Friday, Christmas night, Maureen Stapleton is a widow torn between her newfound love and her overprotective family.
He isn't Daddy.
Veronica Hamill co-stars in The Gathering 2. NBC sends season's greetings with a week of holiday specials.
Poland, but crisis continues. A full report tomorrow on NBC Nightly News.
Jordache has the look that's right. The Jordache look. Shine the hot light on the left line. You've got the band, you're drumming and thumping out a tune to beat the band.
This Friday, Lucille Ball sparkles as Mame. Join us for this classic in a special Christmas extravaganza Friday night at 8 on WTCN Channel 11.
For years, Century Camera has been telling you about Yashica. The Yashica FXD introduces a whole new generation of SLR technology. Quartz timing? Of course. LED viewfinder? Sure. Continuous AE lock? Yes. Because there's more to photography than the camera, Century presents this entire package, including Maxi-Color photo finishing and Century's free photo school for only $449.99. Take up to 36 months to pay. Own the Yashica FXD from Century Camera, your Yashica dealer yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
WTCN TV, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Channel 11.
This is News Center 11 from WTCN, Minneapolis, St. Paul, with John Bachman, Tom Ryder, sports, and Glenn Burns, weather. Now for News Center 11, John Bachman.
Good evening. Another and perhaps final chapter in one of the more highly publicized murder cases in Minnesota history. Helen Huffman will be released from prison tomorrow. The state Supreme Court has overturned her murder conviction. The 66-year-old grandmother was sentenced to life in prison last January. She was convicted of first-degree murder in the killing of her daughter-in-law, Helen Huffman. The lower court concluded that she had not tried to stop her son, David Huffman, from killing his wife. Mrs. Huffman was living with the couple when her son murdered Helen Huffman, dismembered her body, and dumped the parts into a lake. But the High Court has ruled that there was not enough evidence to justify convicting Helen Huffman as an accomplice. In Elk River, the jury is still deliberating in the Joseph Churi murder trial. Churi is charged with the kidnapping, rape, and murder of 19-year-old Diane Edwards of West St. Paul in September of 1980. Roberto Chudin-Lachim is standing by at the Sherburne County Courthouse and has this update. Roberto?
John, the jury has been deliberating now for about 6 hours, but they still have not come up with a verdict. They started around 4 o'clock this afternoon, and they've been at it ever since. They even had dinner delivered to them in the jury room. They certainly have a lot to think about. Churi is charged with 2 counts of murder in the first degree, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of rape. The prosecution contends that Churi has confessed to all of these crimes, but the defense says those confessions were coerced and that Joseph Churi has an alibi. According to the defense, on the night of the murder, Churi was working on his car, eating at a Perkins restaurant in Roseville, and cashing a check at a bar called Wilebski's. But aside from Joseph Churi's own testimony, there is nothing to back up that alibi, so the prosecution is hoping that the jury will disregard it and believe Churi's earlier confessions. Churi's confessions are critical to the case. The prosecution has admitted that all along, so in the end it comes down to a question of credibility, whether the jury will believe the Joseph Churi who made the confessions or the Joseph Churi they saw on the witness stand saying, "I have an alibi." Back to you, John.
Thank you, Rob. Roberto Chudin-Lachim reporting live from Sherburne County. Former New Ulm City Councilman Bradley Vogelpohl has been sentenced to 15 years in prison for the death of 23-year-old Gwen Franke, his former lover and the manager of a gift shop that he owns. Vogelpohl pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree murder, admitting that he beat Franke to death with a hammer in a rage. Vogelpohl is being held in the Blue Earth County Jail pending his transfer to the Minnesota Department of Corrections. As promised, Governor Al Quie has rejected the DFL answer to the state's budget deficit. The final proposal, hammered out this afternoon in conference committee, made some budget cuts, but also raised income taxes, a move strongly opposed by the governor. The DFL-controlled legislature spent 3 weeks coming up with its alternative to the budget cut sought by the governor. And as Jim Gately reports, tomorrow morning it'll be back to square one.
House, come to order. House DFLers tried to sell their program by reminding independent Republicans that it's the legislature's responsibility, along with the governor, to balance the state budget, even if the choices hurt.
Nobody on the Republican side or on the Democratic side wants to raise taxes. But when you face a $768 million deficit in your treasury and you can't make it up with cuts, then the only alternative is to increase taxes.
DFLers bought the argument. Independent Republicans did not. On a party line vote, the majority Democrats pushed through the bill.
Being 69 ayes, 61 nays. Bill is passed, title agreed to.
Later in the day, the Senate passed the same bill and sent the budget and tax package on to the governor.
This is irresponsible and unacceptable.
As promised, the governor quickly vetoed the DFL-backed program.
The bill does too little to reduce government spending. The bill goes too far in increasing the tax burden on our citizens.
The governor urged the legislature to return to work immediately and try at least to solve the state's more immediate cash flow problem. But House Speaker Harry Sieben isn't sure his fellow DFLers will follow the governor's advice.
There's a strong feeling in our caucus that we gave it our best shot, that we did our best, and the governor couldn't accept it, and he doesn't have any compromise positions to offer. Many people think that we ought to adjourn until the regular session. We haven't decided that. We're going to make a decision in the morning.
The House and then the Senate adjourned until tomorrow morning. No matter what the legislature does or doesn't do to solve that cash shortage situation, the governor will likely have to withhold aid payments from cities, towns, and counties, or from school districts, or possibly from both. Reporting from the state capitol, Jim Gately, News Center 11.
Indications tonight that resistance to the iron grip of martial law in Poland is much more widespread than originally reported. One of the trouble spots acknowledged by Warsaw Radio is the Lenin shipyard in Gdansk. These photos were taken late last week and smuggled out of the country. They illustrate reports of gatherings of laborers, clashes with police, and the sabotage of machinery. According to radio reports monitored in Vienna, work is scheduled to resume at the huge complex early next month. But in the meantime, the opposition to martial law continues. The most widespread resistance is reported in the industrial heartland of Silesia, where thousands of miners have barricaded themselves in the mines. And reports tonight from the Soviet news agency TASS that steel workers at Katowice are threatening to blow up a steel mill in that city in southern Poland. But there is some encouraging news tonight concerning the whereabouts of Solidarity leader Lech Walesa. Polish government officials report that Walesa is still being held in Warsaw. They claim that he is being well treated and was visited yesterday by his wife and children. Other sources report that the government wants Walesa to issue a statement in support of martial law, but that he has refused to cooperate. Warsaw Radio also reports that the former Polish ambassador in Washington will be tried in absentia for serious crimes against the state. Romuald Spisowski was granted political asylum yesterday by President Reagan. In the Warsaw broadcast, Spisowski was called an incompetent and a modern-day Judas. Meanwhile, President Reagan called Spisowski's defection an act of courage that underscores the seriousness of the military crackdown in Poland. Reagan's comments came at a White House meeting of Polish-American leaders. After the meeting, the president of the Polish-American Congress told reporters that no Polish citizen is safe from the military's terror tactics.
They'll walk into homes and they will arrest you, whether you're clothed or not, bring you in, throw you into jail. They'll beat you. There are instances where people have been beaten to death.
And the National Security Council was once again called into emergency session on the Polish crisis. No specifics released on what was discussed there. Already, dock workers on the east and Gulf coasts are taking some action of their own against Poland. They have announced a boycott of all shipments to or from Poland. Union officials say the action is in support of human rights and is designed to show Polish leader Wałęsa that somebody cares. Poland is in debt to Western bankers to the tune of some $25 billion, and some of those bankers met in Switzerland today to review that situation. Poland has been trying to borrow more money to meet its interest payments. It wants to avoid default so it can continue to receive at least another $10 billion from the West during the next several years. The current speculation among banking circles is that the takeover in Poland may help that country get loans. Rigidly controlled communist regimes have a good track record on debt management. Coming up next, a roaring fire in Minneapolis takes a heavy damage toll and causes real concern about the threat of toxic chemicals. That story and more when we return.
Come to find the beautiful fragrance of Jean II. Sensual, but not too far from innocence. Jean II, the beautiful fragrance, sensual, but not too far from innocence.
Now with Jean II or any Revlon fragrance purchase, get the Color Dynasty 2 collection for just $12.50 at Powers.
Bound for Arizona, there's a trail you can ride to Phoenix and Tucson in the flaming skies. Sunbirds to the sunshine every day heading out. That's what friendly skies are all about. United Airlines cut above the rest, blazing trails of friendship to the great Southwest. Time's a wasting, so don't delay. For your Arizona Sunbird, just call today.
Cheese to choose a fine cheddar. Two words say it all. Cracker Barrel, so carefully made, so cautiously aged, for the peak of pure cheddar perfection. Cracker Barrel cheddar from Kraft, our pride, your joy.
Santa knows where to get the best deals on top quality Christmas gifts. Right here at Menards. Rugged steel toolboxes in 9 different styles on sale from only $9.77. Workbench kits for Dad and his little helper from just $6.79. This 20-inch Lawn Boy snowblower, a great gift at only $157 at Menards.
Save big money at Menards. Christmas sale. Menards, your Merry Christmas store.
A fire in a North Minneapolis bakery has left 2 families homeless tonight. It all started in a storage area in the rear of the Butter Roll Bakery on the corner of Irving and Broadway. It quickly spread to the 2nd and 3rd floor apartments above the bakery. The 2 families will be spending tonight with friends and neighbors. Firemen tonight still are keeping an eye on a South Minneapolis metalworks plant where earlier today flames gutted the building. As Susan Wiese reports, for much of the afternoon, firemen feared a toxic compound might ignite, filling the air with poisonous gas.
For more than 2.5 hours, firemen battled the blaze at the metalworks plant before bringing it under control. During that time, firemen were concerned for the safety of people in the area and for their own safety. Inside was a barrel containing cyanide, a poisonous compound used by the Cayman Mastercraft Company to refinish metals. If the cyanide ignited, toxic smoke would fill the air. That didn't happen, though, because firefighters managed to isolate the barrel, keeping it away from the flames. Still, firefighters had to be cautious about moving into the building. Assistant Chief Alan Wold feared his men might come in contact with acids, which are also used in treating metals.
There are several vats below grade, I believe, so we can't just walk in there. We might just drop into a vat of acid.
Officials are now convinced the blaze at Mastercraft was sparked by a tiny electrical fire in the plant's ventilation system. The owner estimates his loss at more than $500,000, a loss he hopes insurance will cover. Nevertheless, it was difficult for Dwayne Cable to watch the family business go up in smoke.
This is many years of your life. It's just gone. It's something that you can be rebuilt. At least there was nobody hurt. That's the main thing. But it's still a lot of memories.
The walls of this metal finishing plant are still standing, and Dwayne Cable sees that as a hopeful sign. He wants to rebuild and continue a family tradition that's been going on for 18 years. In South Minneapolis, Susan Wiese, News Center 11.
In Alabama, in a town called Sylacauga, an explosion and fire ripped through the downtown area. The blaze leveled half a city block. The blast caused damage in a 4-block area. 42 buildings in all sustained at least some structural damage. The explosion could be heard as far away as 10 miles. Only 3 people, fortunately, were injured, and they're listed in good condition. Elizabeth Taylor is facing yet another failed marriage. She and her 6th husband, Senator John Warner, have separated after 5 years of marriage. A statement from the couple says each party accepts this with sadness but with no bitterness. The statement adds neither party presently intends to seek a divorce. Today, President Reagan unveiled his answer to concerns about women's rights, a task force to weed through bureaucratic red tape. The task force, comprised of 14 women and 7 men, is designed to investigate reports of sexual discrimination. President Reagan says such a watchdog group would make a constitutional amendment like the ERA unnecessary, an opinion hotly contested by the National Organization for Women. Bill Peterson with us tonight. Glenn's on vacation. This was the shortest day of the year.
Shortest day. There's about 3 or 4 days in here that are almost of equal length, John, but officially this is the shortest. Winter began at 4:51 p.m., although it didn't feel like it out there. It was rather warm today. We'll look at all the weather when we come back.
Advisor to 3 First Ladies and one of America's most famous hostesses. Her name, Molly Parnis. At her parties, you will find a fascinating collection of political and intellectual leaders from all over the world.
In my home, I like to demonstrate America at its best. American fashion, American art, American champagne. And my own favorite is Taylor champagne. I like its light, delicate taste, and my friends seem to like it too.
Taylor Champagne, America at its best.
Sometimes it seems like we live in a dull, gray world. Well, I've found a way to change it.
Wonderful things happen with the sounds of a Hammond organ. Only Hammond has features like note accord. Keys stay down after you play each chord, so learning is easy and fun. Make your musical dreams come true with a Hammond organ.
Hammond organs are now on sale for the merriest Christmas ever. See Bodine's.
Capture the fastest action on Kodacolor 400 film. Kodak's fastest color print film.
Big parties, little parties, those very special parties. They always sparkle with Canada Dry. That very special Canada Dry sparkle. Always light, always crisp, and very, very refreshing. Canada Dry Club Soda, tonic water, and ginger ale. They make your parties sparkle. You sparkle. Make your holidays sparkle with Canada Dry.
It was one of those winter days that was enjoyed by almost everybody out there today. A lot of sunshine, a little snow last night to clean things up, and warm temperatures for this time of year. Our high, as we look at the almanac, was 34 degrees. Our low last evening was 19. That's just about average, 25 and 9. A year ago, 20 and 3 below, and records for this date, 51 in 1967 and 24 below, set back in 1916. Currently under mostly clear skies, the temperature is now 20 degrees. The dew point is 18. Our humidity is at 92%. We could get a little fog around the area tonight. Southwest winds at 7 miles an hour. Pressure's now rising, and no precipitation measured during the day today. About a half an inch of snow measured around the metro area last night. On the national map, we've got a couple of things happening. A lot of them to the east of us. You remember those flurries we had last night to move through Minnesota, brought about a half an inch of snow? Well, we're now down through the Ohio Valley, but coupled with that, some warm, moist air being drawn up from the south over a warm front, we call it overrunning, is causing some real problems down here. They've got a lot of rain, very heavy snows, freezing precipitation through this area. Winter storm watches and warnings out for the Ohio Valley. Winter storm watches out for up around the Great Lakes area into New York. Again, they'll probably in for about their 5th winter storm of the year. Back to the west, some flurries through the Rockies, back into Nevada, down into the southwest. And right here in the Midwest, though, we've got partly cloudy skies, very warm temperatures today, and mostly clear skies tonight. But look it up here. A low-pressure system with a trailing cold front is now moving into the Dakotas. It's going to do a couple things for us. It's going to cool us off. Temperatures back down towards that 0 mark for lows in the evening. It's also going to bring us some snow. In fact, in northern Minnesota, it'll bring a little snow tonight, about 1 to 2 inches. We'll see some flurries beginning about tomorrow afternoon here, and we could get an inch or two out of it also as that cold front does move through. Let's look at it on the satellite photo. It shows up very well. Look at to the north of us, up in the Dakotas, and back to the west. You can see all of this rain and snow back in this area, and right there's where that low is. You can see the counterclockwise circulation in the clouds. We'll show you a close-up view, and you can see that we here in Minnesota really have mostly clear skies, but look at right in here, begin to see some clouds back into the Dakotas. Well, this is where the edge of that cold front is, right through here, the cooler air with it, the flurries with it, again, about 1 to 2 inches of snow in northern Minnesota, some clouds and rain down through Nebraska into Iowa also. Temperatures around the nation, high temperatures today were pleasant, I guess, is about what you could call them, 30s really throughout most of the nation. Some warm air being drawn up into the Dakotas, 70s and 80s down through Texas, and record high temperatures in this area for this time of year. But look at where that cold front lies. Right through here, you can see the edge of it, 20s and teens. So we're moving into Minnesota. That's really what our forecast is, 20s and teens for tomorrow and the next couple of days. 5-state temperatures around the area, 34 for high in the cities today, also in Duluth, 33 in International Falls. You can see 30s really dominate the weather, not only in Minnesota, but down into Iowa, Wisconsin, as well as the Dakotas. Our forecast for tonight calls for partly cloudy, mostly clear skies. Southwest winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, lows 10 to 15 degrees. And then for tomorrow, cloudy in the morning. We'll see some showers, snow showers developing in the afternoon, early evening. Southwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, highs 10 to 15 degrees. Here comes that cooler air, lows 3 to 8 above. The extended outlook, snow continuing at least Wednesday morning, highs in the 20s, lows in the single digits. Christmas Day, pleasant, sunny, 25 degrees. Recreational forecast, the wind chill tomorrow won't even be too bad, about 0 to 10 above. 4 inches of snow on the ground. Sunrise, 7:48, sunset 4:34. As John said, this is the shortest day of the year, the first day of winter. It certainly didn't feel like it.
We're over the hurdle now. They get longer every day.
The days get longer, but the temperatures go down,
yeah,
John,
okay.
down.
Today, 3M opened its new healthcare laboratory in St. Paul, one of only a few 3M labs ever open to the press. Mary Stuckey reports that many of the products being developed in the new lab raise questions about the cost of healthcare.
For many people, 3M means Scotch tape, and in fact, many of their new health products are based on adhesive materials. But they've also developed things like a disposable skin stapler and scratch-resistant plastic lenses. Even so, only 10% of 3M's business is in healthcare. So why did 3M invite the press to focus on this relatively small division?
Healthcare products are characterized by having room for innovation. That's the kind of thing a company like 3M does best. Minnesota is a center of advanced medical research. It's an excellent place to find skilled people. The Twin City area, of course, has spawned many fine healthcare companies.
The healthcare business is a risky one, and it's extremely competitive. Some analysts think new products developed under expensive research conditions are accepted mainly for their newness and are driving up the cost of health care.
They will need to be able to demonstrate to those major buyers, the physicians in the hospitals, that their products have cost savings potential. And that element wasn't present in the 1970s.
3M agrees. This skin stapler is disposable, which means 3M sells one every time it's used in an operation. But 3M argues that the stapler is cost efficient because it saves time, thereby lowering operating costs. So more than ever, healthcare manufacturers are going to have to provide proof that their products are more efficient and not just more elaborate. Mary Stuckey, News Center 11 in St. Paul.
A lot of high expectations this season for the Gopher basketball team. They had a match tonight.
They are no longer undefeated.
Yeah.
But I kind of thought that. Kansas State, tough place to win in. We'll tell you about that game. We will also show you how hectic things really got at the Met yesterday, and we'll sort of summarize the season.
Every 10 seconds, there's another burglary. Are you safe? Help protect yourself with Polaroid's new affordable Night Watch. Night Watch offers you two-way protection. One, this solid carbon steel bolt helps prevent actual break-in. 2, a slight pressure against the bolt sets off a shrill 85 decibel alarm. Sleep more securely tonight with Polaroid's Night Watch on guard.
Night Watch for Christmas, $17.95 at Snyder Drugs, Snyder Brothers, and participating Hardware Hank stores. See the heart-touching drama of one of television's most highly honored programs.
They have to operate on Monday. Is it a bad operation?
Look for The Walters, beginning at 3. Then it's time for a half hour of lighthearted fun. See Laverne and Shirley weekdays at 4. Then the laughter continues with a full hour of fun with those mad medics at the 407 7th on MASH.
Oh, you want to play, huh?
See the Waltons at 3, followed by Laverne and Shirley and MASH on WTCN TV, Channel 11.
Try chunking for your beautiful body. Try chunking for the beautiful taste.
Exercising regularly and eating sensibly are part of our life. So is chunking. As good tasting as it's good for you. Today it's stir-fried sukiyaki. Friday it's going to be chicken chow mein or maybe sweet and sour pork. Next week I'm planning on shrimp chow mein and egg foo young. We're feeling good about our life, and chunking is part of it.
Try chunking for your beautiful body. Try chunking for your beautiful life.
At Haskell's, we have thousands of types of wine, plus hundreds of gift assortments to choose from. Many people select this 6-bottle sampler, or how about a beginning wine cellar? 12 bottles of wine and a rack to store them in. You can select as simple or as elaborate a gift as you wish. Haskell's is the only wine shop in America to offer such variety. And with prices like ours, you can afford to be very generous this Christmas. So give the gift they won't return. Shop at Haskell's.
The basketball coach at Kansas State University is a crafty old fox named Jack Hartman. I knew him when he coached at Southern Illinois. He knew his team had to bottle up the Gophers' Randy Brewer to win, and they held Brewer to 12 points, and Kansas State dealt the Gophers their first loss tonight, 62-52 at Manhattan, Kansas. K-State outscored Minnesota by 13 points in the second half. Ed Neely had 22 points, Randy Reed 21, as K-State is now 6-2, Minnesota 5-1. Trent Tucker led the Gophers with 16 points. In college basketball tonight, there you see the K-State win over the Gophers. Wisconsin defeated Northern Iowa tonight. In other games, LSU over Texas El Paso, and a strong University of Missouri team over Youngstown, Ohio State. The Vikings are looking for answers as to why they had an unprecedented collapse, losing 5 straight games to close out the season. Bud Grant told me yesterday there will not be wholesale changes, just some fine-tuning. Club President Max Winter has expressed displeasure over the team's performance. After yesterday's finale, I asked the Vikings' longtime tackle, Ron Yeri, to sum up the season.
Disastrous. It's just amazingly bad. Can you figure out why? I can't. I think what the coaches will do is probably the next couple of months they'll go through the whole season and review everything, and they'll come to conclusions. You know what we have to do to pick things up and areas we have to improve in. You're coming back, aren't you? You mean myself? Yes. Well, thank you. I have to. I don't want to. I wouldn't want to go out like this. You know, I'd like to have a team here to play up to its potential and do better, because we do have better potential. But you know, that's not good enough.
Brian Yeri with some honest answers. Frank Kush used to smile somewhat when coaching at Arizona State, but then he was dismissed and brought to court for striking players. Kush went to Hamilton of the Canadian League last year, and he won 11 games. Today he was named head coach of the Baltimore Colts, replacing Mike McCormick. The Colts won their first and last games against New England, but they lost the 14 games in between. Oakland and San Diego are battling for the final playoff spot tonight in San Diego. San Diego leading Oakland 20-10. The game is in the fourth quarter. If it stays that way, San Diego's in the playoffs and Denver is out. Let's take a look at the playoff ledger once again. We see Buffalo at New York at the Jets, Sunday noon, right here on Channel 11. In the other games, we'll have the New York Giants at Philadelphia. That'll be Sunday at 3 p.m. in the NFC wild card game. Then we have NFC playoffs, Tampa Bay at Dallas. Wild card winner will be at San Francisco. AFC playoffs, the wild card winner will be at Cincinnati, and it'll either be San Diego or Denver. At Miami right now, it looks like it's going to be Denver. The North Stars are also trying for some answers, trying to figure out why winning has become so difficult. General Manager Lou Nanne says they are not checking or scoring. The Stars will be at Vancouver tomorrow night. Back to yesterday at the Met for a moment. It got hectic at the end of the game as I had decided the field was the place to be, fully knowing the fans would storm the field. This should give you an idea of how hectic it became. The final football game, the final kind of game anywhere
Minnesota
ever played.
Beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
It's a shame they couldn't have won, but it really just didn't work out today. They lost to Kansas City. Got some help here today. The goalposts are gone. The fans are on the field. We had a chance while the game was going on, though, to talk with some people, some who've been here from the very beginning in 1961 with the Vikings, and some who've had a lot to do. So let's go and hear what some of them have to say. Look at that. To say that did not make the air yesterday, but we had a little fun with it today.
You're a brave man.
Crazy.
Wild day. Thank you, Tom. That's it for now. Stay tuned for The Tonight Show next. We'll all be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Until then, thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
There's so much joy in giving. We can't wait to see their eyes. That special gift will bring the joy of sharing their surprise.
Christmas is shining bright, and Christian Dior offers a dazzling collection of gifts for men. Ties, dress shirts, cufflinks, collar bars, and much, much more.
Our best to you. We're just like you.